Hi, it's Mother's Day, May 10th, and I'm going to show the evolution of a encaustic photograph that the end stage was encaustic and not Photoshop, which is a first for me. So let's get started. Uh, it began with a photograph of my father's old leather keychain, and I found it in the basement, and there was bits of mildewy aqua there on some of the keys as well as rust, and I sort of loved finding it, and it was a bittersweet find because I recognize the keys to his Oldsmobile that I remember. In those days, you had to have two keys, one for the ignition, one for the trunk. And I recognize the Wellesley house key here as well as the Cape House. So all of these things are gone to me now, and I must say that this is when I think encaustic really suits the mood as well as the photograph. So I decided to experiment with transfers first, and I did a parchment paper transfer, thinking that would be probably the best. It turned out not to be for my purposes, although if I wanted a mysterious, muddy transfer, this one would have done it, but I didn't care for it. And that was the final thing. And then I even made it muddier by doing the heat gun. So you can see I had to start over. And I did with a photograph that I printed for a wet transfer. And I totally love these wet transfer photos as they're emerging. It is one of my new favorite things about encaustic. And I could tell it was going to be a great transfer, and yet I still didn't want the clarity of it. So what I did was print it on tissue paper, and then I cut out with scissors the keys to the best that I could do. Not fine cutting, I can tell you that, but and then I'm going to overlay it onto the transfer, which is what I did here. And that in and of itself, I thought looked fine, but it didn't have the emotional weight of the experience of this keychain, so I knew I had to do more. And this was before I waxed it also. So then I sort of embedded it without putting wax over it, but just heating it up a bit. And so it was embedded into the bottom layer, but still no wax on the top. And I knew I had to do the wax on the top, which always scares me because I'm not all that proficient yet with this wax and tissue paper, and my tendency to, do too much heat gun and too hard a touch with everything else. But anyway, I persevered and actually liked where I ended up. And I ended up with putting the oil stick, bronze and copper and combinations, as well as black and gray onto this whole thing, and was it was resonating with me as the emotional part, so I knew I was on the right track. And then I finished it with pan pastels. Now, this took me 2 days of drying. Just a word to the wise. Using this kind of oil stick in combination, you need to let them dry in between layers in order to start new. And so I was very happy, actually, with how this turned out. And for the first time, ended with Encaustic. All right. Happy Mother's Day to y'all.